and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
Okay, so we are back. I have we've got all the show prep and all the articles and all the stories, and then while I was doing some show prep, I ran into this, and I want to see if you guys are as weirded out about this as I am. I mean, and I can't say angry. I'm just saying weirded out because this is a marketing direction that it offends me, but so there is an article or a newsletter called The Well by Northwell Health. And Northwell Health is an insurance company. And so they have a section on their website for culturally relevant stories. Catch that, culturally relevant stories. And so I'm like, wonder what's considered culturally relevant. And I was threatened with a gun, and here's how I cope. So, okay, so now I'm reading a gun story on an insurance site. And when I look at this, I find out that it is a shill for Moms Demand Action. And they went out and they found a 15-year-old, molded her, and this is a piece of her story. So I was only 15 when gun violence touched my life. Now I use my voice to affect change, she says. Now remember, this is on an insurance site. Insurance. Health insurance. Health is an issue. They're trying, because I was digging in because the CDC has just gone in and scrubbed the defensive gun use stuff, information, data, support, documentation from their websites as if it's not culturally relevant. And so now when I found this, it was like, this is. And so this 15-year-old gal who now works for Moms Demand Action is talking about the fact that she was at home with her mother and her siblings who were younger than her, and the mom's boyfriend who had substance abuse and mental health issues, and so he had been living with them, and then the mom threw him out. So now he comes back and he says he has a gun. So I want you to hear this section of it. This section right here, and then we'll tear this apart. This paragraph says, "My stomach dropped, and I immediately scooped up my sisters and ran to the bedroom. I told them to crawl under the bed and to lie flat. If gunshots rang out through the house, I didn't want them to hit us. I tried to hide my panic from my sisters, but inside I wondered if we were all going to die that day. All I could do is pray we'd survive. I wanted to do something, to protect my family in some way, and the thought of calling the police crossed my mind." You think? But as a Black woman, I wondered if the police would know that we were the ones who needed help as opposed to being the aggressors. I didn't want to end up as a headline in the nightly news. I also did care about my mom's boyfriend, and I didn't want him shot by the police. So I stayed flat under the bed and continued to pray. So I'm reading this, and it was so many levels of propaganda and we'll just say crap, right? I mean, that's really, really what it is. Because one, as you read it, you see that there has been a brainwashing about the fact that African Americans should not call the police, that the police are not on their side at all, ever. Where did that come from? Where is this fallacy? And how many people are actually harmed day in, day out by the fact that they do not use the police as a resource to assist them? Then the second part is, so they assumed that the police would come and shoot them. Then they assumed that the police would come and shoot the boyfriend. It's so many levels of, I mean, once I got past being offended that it's on an insurance site.
But we have talked about the family where they called the police because the guy had a machete or something like this.
Well, that was local to us,
and they couldn't handle him. So then when the police got there, the guy went after him with the machete, and they ended up shooting him.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a spot where, the boyfriend is in the wrong, and there's a good chance he's going to get shot at. And,
or he either pays attention or he doesn't. But the thing is so she made a choice.
And most of that, if you call the police, you're probably more likely going to get a black police officer than you are a white one in most situations.
So the thing is that so they didn't call for help. They're just going to take it, whatever is coming, right? So if the guy got through the door, got through the lock, that they're just willing to be shot because they're not willing to take any action. I mean, in some other cases, the action would be, I went to the box and got the gun so that we could
so when
protect
the dog
ourselves.
Was done chewing on him, then
right when he came through the door, that he would either stop or he wouldn't. And if he didn't stop, then he would stop. So he was stopping.
Well, you can see that the story was written to
be empathetic and tug at your heartstrings
and get a point across one way or the other, more than likely the one way than the other.
We're just going to say, what a crock of cheese.
But it's, you think about it, somebody had some creative writing there that they had to actually think about to make sure
that... The fact that they scooped up somebody who was so young and malleable.
Did they, or did they just say that they were that young? They could have been
made
50
it up.
Years old and made the whole thing up.
It could be artistic writing at its best.
Everybody's got never let the truth hold them back from a good story.
I'm starting. It's not often that I am speechless, but I am going to start a letter writing campaign to the insurance company. I sicked my reporter friend on him. I sicked my other videographer friend on them.
They don't care because
they're going to be famous.
They're aiming at a market that is watching The View on the television. And so they're already, their little brains are mush. They are not set up to think for themselves and make a credible decision in what's going on in their lifetime.
Joy Behar tells them how to think, and they're
better
like
off
glad
to just go along with the flow and let somebody else worry about whether or not the boyfriend was belligerent or not.
You're right. So one of our listeners is like, a 15-year-old girl isn't going to put that much thought into a situation while it's going down. No, you're right. But there is a spot when they just kind of go, okay, well, fine. I'm just going to hide under this bed and take what's coming to me, you know? Yeah. So let's see. So Krabby Turtle, who's one of our listeners, says that Baltimore in the late 90s had a Don't Snitch campaign, and they touted it on the show The Wire. It was always part of their culture, and then that's when it went national. And yeah, it could be. Snitches
get stitches.
Right. So Northwell Health, if any of you guys want to go look for it, the headline is "I was threatened with a gun. This is how I cope." So you should be able to search for it that way. If you too want to write a little letter to them to tell them that whoever's managing their social media campaign needs to get a punch in the eye. That's
You'll have them all hiding under the bed.
boom. That's it. One just shot right in the kisser, right?
At least
Isn't
you
that
know
what
they
they
won't
say?
call the cops on you. They're just gonna hide
They're
under the
just gonna
bed.
hide under their bed, right? But I'm like, just one right in the kisser is what I'm gonna, it's that I'm gonna plant one on you. It's a. I looked at this and I was like, I was so offended on so many levels, and it's like, there's a spot where you're not Eeyore, and you don't be like, oh well, I'm gonna take whatever life hands out. No,
A lot of
if you're
people are exactly like that.
Well, if you're going down, you ought to be going down fighting. You ought to be like Andy Capp. So all you see is a pile of dust and a couple fists and some feet sticking out. You should not be like the little donkey.
But most people are not gonna be. They're gonna be like Eeyore with the.
Oh, life is sad. I think I've lost my tail.
What was the one with the old? What was the other one? The Bad Luck Schlup Rock with a crowd, with a black cloud following him around. Wowzy woo woo.
Right, exactly. I read this and I was like, somebody's got to do something, and then darn it, I am somebody, I guess, and this is going to be the something that I do this week. So yes,
But you're not going to change their way of letting someone else think for them, and that's the trouble. Is we are an uninformed society. We live by the headline, not the actual story byline. And what is the headline on that article?
I was threatened with a gun. This is how I cope.
So that's they look at the headline, and that's what the story is about. They don't bother to read
to the spot where she's like, I could call the police, but oh no, alas, I decided not to. Oh no, alas, I decided this and I decided that. Yeah, right. No, it's just a crock of cheese, an absolute crock of cheese. And
well, the last thing they want is for you to incite people to start thinking for themselves and wanting to fight. I mean, if you've got a whole group of people that want to go out in the street and fight, you're going to have a whole nother January 6th on your hands, and you may be in trouble.
I don't know.
Like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Maybe. I can't be public enemy number one. She's already got that spot. But if you too read this article and are offended, write to them and tell them that you're offended by this article being on their website, because it has nothing to do with health insurance. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Seffacool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough? Check out offhandgear.com. a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Shotgun with Charlie.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, so we are back. Now, what story do you want to talk about?
There's a guy in Florida who's selling guns at a flea market.
Okay, so he's 74 years old. He's in Volusia County. He's at the DeLand Flea Market, and he does not have an FFL.
Right, and he apparently he's been selling guns for a while at this flea market, and he buys and sells guns without an FFL license.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made some purchases from him, and then they told him that he had to get a license, and he didn't get a license. And so then they made a case against him, and he's now in prison for a year and a day. I don't know why.
1 year, 1 day, right? But
the thing is it's my experience that as a 74-year-old man who does not have a storefront, and
he would not get an FFL.
He could not get an FFL if he wanted one.
Right. I have to say that there's got to be something a little deeper to this, and that is because when the ATF comes to you as you're selling stuff at a flea market and says, "Dude, you need to stop this because it's a violation of the law," and when you say, "I'm going to flick a booger on you," to the ATF, that takes.
Well, the thing is, he's 74, so he doesn't have that filter no more. And he also...
There is that. And you're not the boss of me, Mr. ATF agent.
They have a list of what kind of guns they got from him, and it's all antique stuff. And they said sporting goods, nothing that fits into either Biden-Harris administration's assault weapons bill or Bill Clinton's 1994 assault weapons ban.
Right. So they are.
It's old collectible or sporting firearms which are no longer in production. So he just had a collection of old junk that he was making. They said he made between $50 and $75 per sale on.
Right. So the thing is that if you make an occasional sale of a firearm from your personal collection, you do not need to be licensed. That is how people at gun shops say, "This is my private collection and I'm selling it." But if you are in the business of being in the business, then you require a license.
The funny part is they say that the ATF has a book that says, "Do I need a license to buy and sell firearms?" But in there's no clear, bright line rule that tells you that you need to buy to have a.
No. So this dude needed a better lawyer. So that's
Right,
one
and the
piece
thing
of it,
is
and a filter. And he probably should have given up business when he got the big fat
If
warning.
he should have moved to a different flea market or something.
Something.
But anyhow, if he was to revisit this now that Bruin is out, there's a good chance that he don't have to do the 366 days of
66 days of jail. But he could write a book of my days as well, you know, I don't know. Now that they've just traded that Russian dude that was the arms dealer, it's
right.
you know, he could go as that guy for Halloween. But no,
they also tell you in here that like the ATF teamed up with this Volusia County Bureau of Investigation, and the Sergeant Wool says that they didn't, and when it comes down to it, there's an old guy selling guns at a flea market. That's about as much of the tip as they're going to deal with, and they'll send it to the ATF, and it's not our.
Yeah, this was never involved. They're like, yeah, nah, we're not playing, right? Yeah.
So they're saying that somewhere along the line, somebody got their feelings hurt, and they decided to take it out on this little old man for selling.
Right. I mean, in his frankly, his list of guns. What is a Western Field pistol?
Western Field was the name brand of Montgomery Ward.
Oh,
so
okay.
If you bought if it was a Western Field pistol, more than likely it was a high standard 22 pistol of some kind.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is a lot of that stuff, the store brands like that says 2 Hatfield shotguns. I'm sure that was a store brand of some kind for a hardware store or something. Prior to 1968, if you wanted to buy guns with your name on them, they would make you guns with your name on them.
So it could be Western Auto and Western Field, and got it.
Right. So there's a lot of different groups that put Sears had Allstate brand, and they also had Ted Williams. Ted
Williams.
And then some of the other Western Field was Montgomery Ward. Western Auto had a brand also. I can't think of what it was. But a lot of them sold under. So you could buy a name brand high standard 22 pistol for say $107, or you could buy the store brand one for $81 or something. And it's the same exact gun, just it had a different name on it.
Right. There you go. So he pled guilty. And
that's probably that lawyer that he had that was working in the next booth over.
That may be. He's got the flea market lawyer that was in booth A7
right.
From that row, right next to the massage person who would give you the neck massage on the other side of the t-shirt people. But okay,
right.
But they were his friends. So, you know,
I mean, there's a lot of the stuff that, I mean, it's the ATF got another gun seller off of the street.
Right.
The other funny part was that they were able to track some of the guns that the guy sold, and they were used in crimes.
So how did they?
If he needed a license, why would they able to track the sales anyhow? So he should have been able to
use that as part of his. He should have had you as his lawyer. Oh, that would have Rob Campbell, lawyer extraordinaire. That would be scary. I'm just saying. But no, he should have had a better lawyer. And he's
Right.
74 years old, and his collection of guns was, we'll just say, interesting, unique, and flea market worthy.
Right, but not really set up for the gangbangers or the drug cartel.
No, so there's a Winchester 12 gauge, 2 Marlin 30 calibers, a Mossberg 22 caliber rifle, a Walther 7.65 millimeter pistol.
That's the same one James Bond uses.
Oh.
7.65 millimeter is 32 ACP.
Right. Well, it sounds so much better as 7.65. A 32 ACP is like it's going to shoot me in the thumb and bounce off.
It's supposed to have the delivery of a brick through a plate glass window, according to Q.
Okay, well, it depends. Did it bounce from the window? I'm just saying. I don't know, but poor dude. You just kind of feel sorry for the dude, and unless, well, the only thing that I can figure is that at 74 years old, he's been married 50 years, and she's still alive, and he needed a break.
He's thinking he's got 366-day vacation from her.
Whoops. Where he's got 3 squares and somebody's doing his laundry.
He probably needed his teeth fixed or something, so he's getting it done for free now.
Okay. Otherwise, we got to find some humor in it. Otherwise, it's a sad story. Is how did Grandpa spend his retirement years while he was in the slammer? Right? Where is Grandpa for Christmas? That's a new song. Grandpa spent the Christmas in the slammer. So, I don't know. 74 years old though. That is. But I guess in Florida years, that's a youngster. So
the thing is, 1 year is 1 year a life sentence. Did he get a life sentence for that particular thing?
I don't know. Was he feeling good, or is he?
You would think that his lawyer would have pointed that part out. Is it worth a life sentence to?
Yeah. What's the average life expectancy? If you live to 74, what's your average life expectancy? So I don't know. But in Florida years, it's kind of like in dog years. He's pretty young and spry in Florida dog years.
As long as you make it through the intersection, you're good. You're gonna last a long time.
You're gonna last. Forgive us, please forgive us for the humor.
If you've never been to Florida, you wouldn't understand. But if you've been to Florida, every intersection is paved with shards of broken side glass out of an automobile.
Out of somebody's, right? and not sure that there's not a chalk outline too.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
You and I are constantly bombarded by misinformation from politicians, celebrities, and media personalities who demonize guns and gun owners. Their accounts are contrary to my experience as a responsible gun owner, a retired police officer, and a professional competitive shooter. I have listened to their lies and I've taken their punches, but I refuse to stay silent any longer because I know a lot of women who have something to say and they won in the game. They're ready to play offense with the truth.
The truth is, we all want the same thing, to protect ourselves, our families, and to be safe in our communities. The DC Project is a nationwide grassroots organization made up of women from every demographic. We come from all different walks of life, but we are united in preserving our Second Amendment rights. As we share our experiences, we push back against gun control lies and oppose those who demand our rights be restricted.
As an immigrant from Venezuela, I saw how easy it was for freedom to die. My family and I watched tyranny destroy our home. In Venezuela, the media, celebrities, and politicians repeated the same anti-gun messages until people found it normal and acceptable to give up their freedoms. The reality is, none of it is normal or acceptable. Hungry and helpless, Venezuelans are now unable to protect themselves. Now, as a proud American, I am determined to guard against the same things happening here.
We constantly hear about common sense gun control, like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, ghost guns, high-capacity magazines, and gun show loopholes. Every city that is facing massive crime waves have put these policies into place. Common sense tells me that they don't work. So why do people still believe the idea that those policies save lives? Actual common sense is holding criminals accountable, not letting them out of jail or encouraging them to be more confrontational. Common sense is not stealing the right of the American people to protect themselves. This is the message that America needs to hear.
The DC Project works to reduce firearm accidents by campaigning for education in schools. We counter the false gun control lies by testifying in hearings and meeting our legislators. We equip our friends, our families, and our communities to know the truth. Gun owners are good people.
America is a beacon of freedom. The Second Amendment is vital piece in ensuring that our kids can have a free country to grow up in. We stand with the lawmakers who support the Constitution, and we provide armor from the attacks by the gun control lobby.
Join the DC Project today. Become a member, donate, or subscribe to our newsletter for updates on how we educate, advocate, and preserve our Second Amendment rights for generations to come.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
and the home for everything Second Amendment, concealed carry, the latest gear, reciprocity, legislation, the right to self-protection, and it shall not be infringed. This is Eye on the Target Radio with your hosts, Rob and Amanda.
Okay, so we are back. I got a couple things for housekeeping, just to let you know that the next 2 weeks we're going to run some archive shows, basically because it is Christmas Day and New Year's Day, and we will be doing Christmas and New Year's things, and we assume that you will too. But should you need your fix, you'll just be able to get a little bit of a historical, Rob and Amanda.
Maybe a good New Year's show with the Hangover will do them some good.
Yeah, no. So, no. I don't.
Hangover show.
I don't drink enough to have hangover shows. I drink so seldomly. The last time I drank, though, I told my husband I had the flu, and he was like, "No, you don't."
Aluminum can flu.
Yeah, I think it was wine bottle flu, but okay, we're there. So there's that. The other thing I want to let you know is that we are doing in the countdown of you will see your NRA ballots for board of directors in less than 30 days from now, and so it's getting exciting. And Rob, I'm going to want to see.
Pretty soon you're going to be like that Officer Tootie from the Car 54 with the ooh, ooh.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. I was gonna say I don't know. Yeah, so it's getting pretty exciting. But I'm going to want to see your ballot just to make sure that you don't
vote for
somebody else, because I'm going to have to sock you right in the nose, right? He'd be like, "Oh yeah, she's spread way too thin," and I'm like, "Nope. So, should you have any questions about my validity or the reason why I'd like to be on the NRA board, there is a Facebook page, Amanda Suffolk for NRA board, or a great decision for NRA board, or I don't know. I named it something that sounded really good that day, so now I don't remember exactly what the words are, but you'll find it if you look. There's not that many Amanda Suffolks, funny enough.
If you're one of these people in the NRA saying something should get done, put Amanda in it, because she can't keep her fingers out of it, so she'll get something straightened out.
There is a little bit of that, right? For years, Rob and I have gone to do something, and then he'll look at it and he'll be like, "No, you keep your mouth shut. You do not volunteer for anything." Just right.
And I mean, I've seen her so many times where all of a sudden she almost owns the thing in a couple of months. It's like, back off. You don't really want to own that particular thing. It's one thing to help them out or something, but don't take charge.
Oh yeah, Car 54. He did date himself. There is that. So wait, there's so one of our listeners says, "Wow, Car 54, you dated yourself there." Yes, indeed. Well, one, we're of a certain age. The second part is that we, during our formative years, our great aunt came and lived with us, and so everything was we got books from the Goodwill, so they were I think some of them were World War I books.
We got a books. When we were kids, we got a Collier's 1921 encyclopedia set, so everything we did was before the atomic age. Or
well, there's that. Remember the comic book with the schmooze?
Yep.
So I think that was World War I.
No, it was World War II.
Two schmooze, but yeah. So some of who we are is because we're really 150-year-old Dutch ladies, right? just the next generation or two, right? It's not our fault. I guess it's Danish. World War I.
Some of that stuff actually builds character, though. I mean, not many people know about schmooze and the fact that depending on how you cook them,
they can taste like anything,
like ham or hot dogs, or
they could be a schmoo could be anything you wanted it to be. That was how that worked.
If you fried it was one thing, you boiled it was something else.
Right? It was a dream come true. So anyhow, we're just filling you in. Look up schmoo. They're kind of cute little guys.
If you were hungry, it would drop dead out of sheer joy just to help you out.
They were, look them up. Schmooze are something you need to know about.
I believe that was Al Cap also. So when he wasn't writing about Daisy Duke and Little Abner, he was writing about
Schmooze. It could be. It absolutely could be. So let's go back to the topic of this show, which is Second Amendment and firearms related. Not just the NRA, not just schmooze, not just World War II, but there's an Iowa police chief who has been charged with illegal machine gun purchases. This guy had the racket. And the funny part is how he got caught, or the fact that he did get caught, because I don't know that people really look at them.
If you have a police department, you can just on a piece of letterheads apply.
Say, I need a tank. I need.
You can get machine guns, whatever you want, and they can be modern manufactured machine guns for you.
Right.
If you go to sell them, you have to still stay in that law enforcement.
You have to
arena.
stay in that same
and
arena.
Somehow he was transferring them out of that arena. So I think they said he had got 13 guns.
13 machine guns.
He had would sell them occasionally to make some money, and then he would order more, and so he was.
Yes. So the thing that he did, but here's the interesting part is that he was the Adair, Iowa police chief, and Adair, Iowa has a citizenry of 800 people. So he ended up with 13 machine guns for 800 people in that. But so he just kept requesting them, saying that they were samples for the police department to buy more machine guns. And, at some point I believe the Bruin is going to make it to where there's not a restriction on that. But again, right now there is a law about it. And
for him being able to do that, it goes to show you everyone else is saying woohoo machine guns. So he could get them and then sell them and get more because
it was a never-ending supply.
And people were just glad that he was able to get them. So
So if he could get these for this 800-person town of Adair, what else is slipping through the cracks? How many other police departments because when you look at the stories about how many guns are lost yearly.
Right. I mean, yeah, if you
how
look
many of them are machine guns that are just
every
misplaced?
year at the end of the year they post the number of how many guns the government loses.
And some of them make sense. It was in my car started on fire.
Right.
Boom. It was in my car was in a wreck and
smashed to pieces or something
right.
like this. But
so then is it lost or is it destroyed? So lost, destroyed, maybe,
right.
Yeah.
But then also, if you think about anybody who manufactures something, there's always a way that they seem to get some out the
So Johnny Cash, Johnny Cash, and I got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I built it at home.
It's like they say, there's really nothing you cannot buy if you got enough time and money to look for it. So
the government had a terrible boating accident as well.
Well, if you look at a lot of that stuff, like the Department of Homeland Security and stuff, sometimes they'll lose like 114 MP5s, and they'll lose so many AR-M16s or something like this.
I mean, there's a difference between I put it down and I can't remember where I put it, and I lost 115 of them.
Right, and some of it's like, well, yeah, say you fell in the water and you lost your pistol. But there again, I left it on the back of the commode at the airport.
At the airport is not an explanation. So one of my listeners says, "Can I start my own police department and get a few Tommy guns?" That's it. Could you start the white police department, population 6.5 persons?
The big thing too.
I don't know.
Is that law enforcement thing open to private security stuff like this? Can they? I mean, since it says military and law enforcement.
Don't know. We also received an M60. Yeah, there's just a spot where.
So yeah, an M60 for an 800 person town, probably a little bit.
A little bit of overkill, literally. Yeah, something. I'm not a fan
Of
of
course, I
the
guess
law,
there's only one
but
M60, so there's a spot where you can't. If two would be too many, but one may be just enough.
may absolutely maybe. So Mike White now has volunteered to be for his deputy, so that the White Police Department of population 6.5 has a deputy too. We'll be back right after these messages. So today is just such an esoteric kind of show. I just out there. Sorry. Here we go.
Honest citizens like you protect themselves every day. We talk about it every week on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Were these gun owners lucky, or did they have a plan? How should we defend the people we love? We discuss recent examples on the Self-Defense Gun Stories podcast. Put us in your pocket.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, this is Paul Lathrop from the Polite Society podcast. I wanted to let you know that the show you're listening to is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network. You can check out all the shows on the network by going to selfdefenseradio.net or tune in for more on Self-Defense Mondays on Karma Radio, krmaradio.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Well, here we go. So what do you got now for us?
Here's a guy who's a, let's see, he's a state senator from New York who he's brought a bill out that goes after the New York Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. because the NRA backed the New York Rifle and Pistol Association.
Okay.
He's out to get them, and part of his bill is Senate Bill 9601 is going to make it so that there's nobody in New York recognizes NRA certified firearms instructors, and they're going to make the state build a curriculum. They got to develop a curriculum for gun safety training.
So he's going to say that the NRA is not legit, and because he doesn't like New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, he doesn't like the NRA. He's going to invalidate both of them, make his own curriculum. By the way, he's probably going to steal.
He introduced this new bill forward because the NRA support of that lawsuit.
Yeah. So I hope the Department of Criminal Justice will make up the curriculum, he says. I hope. Yeah, right.
They will train New Yorkers about how to safely store their guns and go over places where the guns are and are not allowed in New York State.
Well, isn't that already in the... We're just going to say what?
It just says State Senate Bill 9601 is I hate you, I hate you.
I hate you long time. I hate NRA, bad guys. I hate you. Yeah. So, it's really, yeah, he says he's convinced that the bill would create a safer New York.
Well, it says here that he blames virtually every bit of violent crime in the state on the NRA.
Okay. So New Yorkers, I'm just going to say you guys need to get to Senator Sean Ryan from Buffalo and call in a mental health evaluation. I think that they call that.
He's probably all good with that 15-year-old story. I mean, he probably read that. That's what made him.
He was hiding under his bed, sucking his thumb. Right. So Wood says a curriculum for gun safety that is not NRA. Look no further than Kids Safe by Derek LeBlanc. Yep. So there's already stuff there. How about USCCA? How about Gun Owners of America? There are other curriculums out there.
Create their own wheel.
But they're going to start all over again just because. And it's I hate you a long time is really the answer.
It looks like all they really want you to show you is how to store your gun and the fact that your gun's not welcome to go out on the street anywhere.
Yeah, so Pete from Gun Website says the anti-rights version of gun safety is safe from guns. And as opposed to those of us who have worked for gun safety with guns. So not wrong, Pete, not wrong at all. And this is that nasty gun that's sitting in the closet that's going to come out and get you. It's where it's stalking you, right? It's creeping up right now. Not happening. But so I think, so what do they call that? Do you red flag him? Do you say he needs a mental health evaluation?
All he needs to do is if they come up with a curriculum that suits them,
they augment it and say this needs to be taught.
Right, and those guys would just start teaching that. They're there to teach.
But the funny part is this guy doesn't want to come up with anything. He wants the Department of Criminal Justice to come up with something. And if they did come up with something, they would just go and take what the NRA has, reword it, and say, this is that.
Well, someone who's never driven a car cannot tell you how to win a race. So that's the thing. Is this guy's
go fast, turn left. It's that simple, right? You just need to go faster than the other guy and turn left more often.
Make sure you stop for gas once in a while.
Periodically, so you don't run out, right? There you go. I can tell you exactly how to do it. See, I can sit on my sofa and tell you how to win the race.
And this guy did the same thing with Senate Bill 9601.
Go faster left. Exactly. I'm going to volunteer other people to do the writing for it because I'm not going to do that. So So we'll just say that, and if you have any questions about this racing thing with Go Fast, Turn Left, call Dale Earnhardt Jr. and he'll give you some pointers. Right? Boom. My work here is done. See, this is easy. I don't understand why people say it's so hard. It's not hard. Not at all. Not at all.
Well, here is what we're reinventing the wheel.
Oh, okay.
Texas schools have signed up for a new program.
The Guardian program.
And basically, it is the same FASTER program that
they can name it whatever they want to name it, and possibly they're already copying off of FASTER, because FASTER says we are happy to share our format.
When I
with
read
everybody.
this, the eye-opening part was they said that their police are between 2 and 3.5 seconds, 2 minutes and 3.5 minutes away.
Okay.
Response time, which
This is Texas. This is Uvalde. Well, they were there in 2 to 3 minutes. Okay.
But that's, I mean, I'm thinking that's an amazing amount of time,
right?
Whether or not they
really
do something, or they could be there in that time. But
the other part is because they've got so many school resource officers, so they pay $100,000 a year per school resource officer, and the Guardian program costs about $800 to $1,000.
Well, it says they have 16 of the school resource officers for 35,000 students.
Okay.
And they're saying that by teaching the teachers the school guardians program, it's $800 to $1,000 per year, and they could train 100 teachers for what it costs them for one
resource officer. So the funny part is that there's a parent, Dixie Davis, who disapproved of the idea of armed teachers, and of course, this is a quote from Campus Safety Magazine. Read that as Liberals United. I do not want this program, period. There's no way I will feel safe sending my kids to school knowing that a teacher is packing, no matter how well trained. Why haven't we seen details of how this program works? Well, that's because open your eyes. You'll see the details of how the program works, because it's been working in multiple states. FASTER Saves Lives, FASTER Arizona, FASTER Colorado. We'll be back right after this.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Range Master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Okay, so we are back from our exciting commercial break. So we want to tell you that if you are carrying a gun, please consider insurance to protect yourself and your loved ones, because should you be forced to use it, the cost of a lawyer, the cost of the legal is absolutely astronomical. And does anybody really have an extra $25,000, $30,000 sitting around that you can just use in case you needed it? So we, both Rob and I, are members of Firearms Legal Protection. But look at them, and if you want to, you can use the discount EOTT to use them. But there are also other companies out there, so consider looking at Firearms Legal Protection. And then look at others and compare them and see what suits you and your family. But please consider having firearms insurance. So what you got?
Oh, well, the new governor of Virginia, the one that they hate him, they hate him, they hate him. The
poor guy. Got it. They hate him. Mm-hmm.
So he has proposed that he's going to put some extra money into the mental health department of the state. They said that it has a rotted safety net that the hole gets bigger every time somebody's thrown into it.
Okay.
So he's added the $230 million to their already $600 million budget.
Okay.
And then he's also put in $20 million to help with like hospitals and emergency rooms, because that's usually the first place that they
end up, and the lack of inpatient beds is
and then
a problem,
$20 million in some training and stuff. So he's working on multiple facets of this, and it may help in the long run. But they're saying because Virginia had their this Virginia Tech shooting and this just recent. The Walmart and that.
Yeah, Chesapeake Walmart.
He's at least taking some action.
Well, and the good news is that somebody then will monitor this, and you'll watch and see what happens with Youngkin and with Virginia. And the cool part is that when somebody does something, then the next guy can be like, I can do that better. I can work off of this. I can play off of this. And so state by state, they can make improvements, learning and using benchmarking each
they're saying
group.
That even though Youngkin's plan won't patch all the gaping holes in the Commonwealth's mental health system, that it's going to do something, and that the Democrat majority in the state Senate is trying to poison pill the bill with all kinds of red flag language and other gun control restrictions presented as mental health issues.
Right. So there's a spot. His superpower is eating his sandwich eating. Our video producer is having such a good time on our video side of this show with changing our names, but it's an interesting. I think that this thing that Youngkin's doing is on my watch. I'm doing something. I'm making an effort to do something and fix it.
This stuff's been ignored for so long.
Mhm.
And it takes such huge amounts of money to make things happen. And if you throw too much money at something, all of a sudden
That too becomes a problem. Then it becomes
people look at it as free money and they start doing stupid things with it. So
right.
by taking these baby steps, they use the money in a realistic fashion. And then also the next time they're capable of getting money, they have already built up a plan for what the next step is that they're going in. So I think this is it's good for the country as a whole. I mean, when he starts to do something, others will follow him.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's real good. So Second Amendment folks, if you're in the mood to write a letter, jot a quick email to Governor Youngkin of Virginia and say, good on you. You know, we appreciate that because we look to our governors as leaders. And, you know, when one leads, others kind of, you know, the blind squirrel thing, others will follow
that was the
along.
thing is he's a Republican who replaced a Democratic governor. And the Democratic governor really hadn't done anything for, I think, 2 times that he was in there.
So it's really easy to look like a superhero if you actually do something.
They want to try to make him look as bad as possible so that he doesn't shine over the other guy too much. So just pay attention. He may be the next guy running for president. Who knows?
I don't know. Okay. So what else you got here?
Well, the
CDC. We mentioned
we talked about something about the CDC is changing. They took out the positive use of guns in the defensive situation. They took all the statistics away so that it didn't look bad for the anti-gunners. But it's kind of funny because they didn't say anything anywhere about the FBI when they left out the major cities in their crime statistics this last year.
Right. And they should say plenty about that also, because it's, once again, they're doctoring. They say that figures lie and liars figure. You know, they're doctoring the data to either look bad or not look bad.
If you leave the major crime areas out of the data, then
I forgot Chicago. I forgot New York. I forgot LA. But other than that,
and so that's the thing is. They leave these cities out, and that way the numbers look more realistic, like there isn't a crime problem. Because if you listen to the news, the White House will be the first ones to tell you that there isn't a crime problem. That was all manufactured for the midterms so that the Republicans look better.
Right, except that in the mayor of New York just came out and said, if you're using public transportation, don't flash, don't wear nice clothes, don't wear jewelry, don't flash your wealth in any manner at all, do not attract attention, and then you possibly will not be the victim of crime.
So if you look like a bag lady, they don't want your bag. But
exactly. So I was when I heard that.
I wonder if they sell like a perfume that makes it smell like you crapped your pants.
But
so halitosis.
It needs to be short term because you still got to go to work, right?
Right.
So that's a marketing ploy that I never would have thought of.
It has like a halitosis and
maybe it's just something. Maybe it's one of those clip-ons that you could just clip onto your hat, and that way when you get to work,
you have to triple bag it when you get to
you can clip it back off when you get to work and hang it outside the door, right? I don't know. There was somebody, and I'm trying to think of where it was, that their sister. I was having a conversation, and they were talking about their sister. And he was laughing because she'd just gotten into a major meeting and she'd forgotten to turn her dress right side out. And I'm like, what? Oh yeah, when she goes to work on public transportation, she doesn't want to draw attention to herself, so she wears all of her clothes inside out.
Well, not only that, but then you don't have whatever was on the seat stuck on the outside of your clothes either.
Well, I didn't even thought of that. But so she would put her dress on inside out, and he says that she would look like she was a little mentally unstable, and people would leave her alone. Well, except she got into work, got in a rush, had a big customer come in, a big client come in, and she forgot to turn her dress right side out. So she was inside out with her her dress on. I think that will draw just a little bit of attention, just a little bit, right? I do not know. Okay, so for those of you who are watching via video, Crosley has escaped from his keeper and is now in studio, and he's pretending like we can't see him, and he's going to be very quiet as he sits here in front of Rob's mic. But there, so Crosley, the radio dog, is hanging out there. So what you got?
There's a story about a gun control group who got a chop saw and a couple of guns, and they chopped them up, but then they kept saying that they were AR-15s.
So they did this whole big press release saying that they've killed all these AR-15s, and they weren't really AR-15s.
But none of them are AR-15s, and then they are trying. So it just goes. The whole article is it's kind of funny because they're like, why? How can these people tell you how bad this stuff is when they don't even know what they're talking about?
Right. Right. So they're saying, we've chopped up another AR-15 and 2 more semi-automatic firearms. Well, those were pistols. Well, that makes 211 this week, he says.
The one, it looks like a Ruger, one of the pistol caliber carbines. And it looks like they cut the barrel off about 2 inches in front of the chamber, which means that it still shoots. It's just now a short-barreled rifle.
Right. And it's now decidedly. So they didn't make it so it doesn't work. They made it so it isn't legal on a big level.
Right. So now federally they've turned it into a short-barreled rifle without paying for a permit or anything.
Right. So they've committed a felony. So they need a step for that, right?
It's just funny that there's so many things in these people, they don't understand what they're talking about.
I think that the ATF, the ones that got the 74-year-old man in Volusia County, they need to go talk to these people who videotaped themselves committing a felony. Right? It's not like we don't have proof because they videotaped themselves.
The tweet that they put out, something that else besides making them look stupid, though it does that quite well. And then it illustrates how little the people pushing these restrictions and guns actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, they don't. No, don't let the truth stop you from having an opinion. So Wood says, if that's Crosby, where's Stills and Nash? So no, he's Crosley, and Crosley is being the radio dog. Oh, there. His keeper is standing right outside of.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to DavenportGuns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that close the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a Range Master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Okay, so we're back, and let's talk a little bit about Oregon and what's happening there, because this Measure 114 is still a big deal that is not it's not settled law, we'll just say, because what's happening is that
here's another one too, where the NSSF is challenging that 114 also.
Everybody's piled on. So there are multiple lawsuits, and so the NSSF, which is the Firearms Industry Trade Association, the National Shooting Sports Foundation, they are there. There's a variety of other lawsuits that went together. So Judge Robert Rashko from Harney County on the Harney County Circuit Court, he delivered a stay about the high capacity or standard capacity or higher than Oregon wants capacity.
It's funny that the NSSF says there's more than 115 million magazines, making this clearly commonly owned and commonly used
and protected by the Second Amendment. So the Rashko puts a stay out saying that you Oregon cannot have Measure 114 deal with the magazine capacity. So he is on the pro-gun side of this court case right now and saying, okay, we're just going to pause. We're going to hold this. We're not going to invoke this portion of the law, and we're going to sort it out. And in his statement, he said that he acknowledged that people are fatally shot in mass shootings, and that sometimes in those mass shootings, shooters use high capacity, air quotes, high capacity magazines. Though he said that there's a less than a 1 in 1 million chance, 1 in 1 of a million chance of a person being a fatality in a mass shooting in Oregon, and even less if the offender has a high capacity magazine. The anti-gun people lost their minds. And so they're like, Judge Reshko expects 4 Oregonians to be sacrificed to the gun industry's profits.
Every year.
There you go. Yearly. We're going to, we've got the volcano, we've got the whatever, the altar, and we're going to burn a couple gun owners or Oregonians in that. No, it's not really that even, but okay, got it. So they say, when they really look at it, 27 people from Oregon have been fatally shot in what they classify as mass shootings since 2014, so 8 years. And so you start to do the math and you look at stuff, and then you find out in the definition of mass shootings, are they putting in gang shootings? Are they putting in domestic violence? Where is this? Is it? It's not that you're standing at the McDonald's and somebody doesn't like their Big Mac. There's other circumstances also, but we'll wait, we'll see, but watch what's happening in Oregon, because this is
we see what they got to say about Bruin, so it's just taking a little longer to get through to these people, but eventually, as part of the United States, we're going to have a united gun laws.
They're going to make it to where you, fingers crossed, talking to the gods, that you'll have a concealed carry license just like you have a driver's license, and all will be good as you move around the United States. That would be the way that things should be, could be, have the possibility to be, and causes some people.
Is that a hat's made of tinfoil?
It causes some people to lose their minds. So there you go.
There you go.
There you go. I'm saying, yeah.
Anyhow, Illinois got to push for an assault weapons bill too, because they also have lost their mind. And
yeah, so House Bill 5855 heavily infringes on the rights to bear arms. But yeah, so our friend Lori Blackwell has been spending quite a bit of time at the Illinois State House talking about some of these bills and trying to be the voice of reason. They don't want to hear anything she has to say. So the first thing that Illinois' bill does is it will ban ownership and use of firearms by American residents who are 18, 19, and 20 years old. We'll call that the Kyle Rittenhouse clause. Right, because Kyle Rittenhouse was an Illinois resident who went to Wisconsin when that whole fiasco happened and changed his life forever. It bans the sale of dozens of commonly owned firearms and requires registration of firearms currently owned in Illinois. So, are you voluntarily registering your guns? That's the question.
I don't think you're seeing that's happening.
I think I know what the answer is.
Well, right now you're supposed to be voluntarily registering your SIG brace guns, and I don't think that's.
I think we know what the answer is. I think it's
going good for me either.
We're doing the Sergeant Schultz with the I know nothing for any of you guys who are Hogan's Heroes
fans. It doesn't really
fans.
say if you have to turn in your old magazines. It just says it bans the future sale of magazines that hold more than 10 rounds. So by leaving all the old ones out there, of course, like they say, once you shoot them up, you can't reuse them again. So
that was a Colorado legislator who says, well, let's just encourage them all to go to the range and shoot up their magazines, because then they won't have any to to save. It's not how that works. It's not how any of that works. Not how. Once again, those who don't understand how things work are making the laws about how the rest of us are supposed to live, right? So,
it's funny. I think the Gatling gun used just a big tray in the top. You just laid the bullets in there, and then they kind of free flow down.
They rattled in, yeah.
And then
okay.
later on, they put actual magazines that would.
We could just go back to the tray version, right?
And the Hotchkiss machine gun just used a tray. Also, the bullets were laid in there, and it pulled them off this tray. And
there you go.
Used them. Browning actually made some of the first with the belt, with the cloth belts.
The whole 9 yard.
Right. Well,
right.
I don't know if a cloth belt was 9 yards, but the mechanical disintegrating belt was 9.
was 9 yards exactly. So this bill has 30 sponsors. Surprise, surprise, surprise! They're all Democrats in the Illinois House of Representatives, and so they need 59 to pass the bill. There's 117 members of the House, and right now it has 30 sponsors. So the Democrats have enough seats in the House because they have 72, and so it will be interesting. So even if they pass this, then immediately thereafter you're going to see the groups of people file lawsuits, and those lawsuits will be the NSSF, the Second Amendment Foundation, the NRA, all of them.
Keep in mind, all that costs money, folks. So send them money.
So if you're looking for a gift for a gun person in your world, help them join Second Amendment Foundation, help them join the NRA, help them join your state gun organization. Those things have meaning, those things matter, and it helps your voice be heard. So like I said, we're going to run archive shows for the next 2 weeks. So when you talk to us next, it will be the new year. So have a healthy and happy Christmas and New Year. We'll see you next year.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.